The first thing I would recommend that every real estate agent does before they do any prospecting or anything else is set up what I call your membership list system. Now, the reason this is so important is one, ultimately the size of this list is going to determine the value of the business that you're about to create. And as an illustration of that point, let me ask you, in 2012, why would Facebook buy Instagram for $1 billion? And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't because Facebook lacked the ability to create a software that people could upload photos to. The thing that made Instagram worth $1 billion to Facebook is that Instagram had a client list of 25 million users. The second reason that this system is so important for you to set up is that the larger this list is, the more money you're going to make year after year, and the easier and easier your business is going to get from year to year. Now, I know there's a lot of agents out there that will just call this system their database. But for me, I had a huge aha sitting in a class that was being taught by Stu McLaren. Now, if you've never heard of Stu, Stu is a 15-year veteran. He's an expert at creating memberships, and multi-million-dollar companies hire him to advise them on how to create memberships and how to get users into their membership and how to keep those users in their memberships. And in this training, Stu pointed out two really important things that really resonated with me. The first thing that Stu said that really stuck out at me is that users of memberships must get more value as they pay more. And a great example of that is Netflix. If you look here, Netflix has a base membership that's a standard with ads. It's $6.99 and you can use it on 2 devices. Now, if you as a membership owner are willing to pay a little bit more, for $15.49, you can get the same service, but you get a little bit more value because now you don't have to look at ads. And then if you're willing to pay even more than that, if you're willing to pay $22.99, you get their highest value proposition, which lets you see the videos in 4K, you get better sound, and now you can watch the same programming up to 4 devices instead of just 2. So you can see as the price goes up, the value that the user gets has to go up. As I started thinking about this idea of a database, I started thinking about who has given me something in payment that now I need to make sure I'm delivering consistent value on. And so for me, I broke it down into 3 groups. And so this is my system here. And so my top group, obviously my past clients have paid me to work with them. So my past clients are here on top. And then I've got a small group of people that have referred me business, so they've helped me to make money, but they've not necessarily used me directly, and so I've decided to call this group of people my raving fans. And then I have really everyone else that would normally be in a database, and those people I call my people farm. My leads that ultimately make their way into the people farm end up being people that have given me their contact information. We've had great conversations. They're kind, they're motivated, they're going to do real estate at some point in the future. They're also willing to let me lead. And perhaps most importantly, they've given me permission to follow up with them. The second really important concept that Stu taught me about these memberships is that all users must get value no matter what level they're on, or they're just going to leave and join some other membership. Now, think about this. How many of you have joined Netflix and then Stranger Things, you've watched all of it, and then now the rest isn't coming out for another 1.5 years, so what do? Well, you shut that down and you jump over and you do HBO Max or Paramount or Hulu. You do one of the other competing products. How many of you have done that? And how many of us have had someone that we thought was on our list, we thought they were in our membership, and then they used someone else to buy or sell a house with? How many of us have been there? I know I have. And that's the most frustrating part. I know we've all been there. We believe they're on our list, but the reality is they didn't get enough value on our list, so they ended up on the list of some other agent that gave them a little more value and ended up doing the transaction with them. And how many of us want to avoid that going forward? And this is why I stopped calling it my database, because when I call it my membership list, I'm reminded that I have to bring value to the table always, or they're going to leave my list and do business with someone else. Now, just like Netflix and really any other membership that you can think of, the higher level of memberships are going to get the same benefits as all the lower ones. They're just going to get more benefits. As we're thinking about the value that we need to bring to our people farm and our raving fans and our past clients, There's a couple of rules that I always like to follow. So the first thing is it has to be easy, because if it's not easy, we're not going to do it consistently. And it has to be done consistently or people are going to leave our membership for someone else's. And the second thing is that it has to be scalable, meaning that our time doesn't go to infinity as our list gets larger and larger and larger. As an example of what's not scalable, I've had some clients that want to do a CMA for all of their clients once a month. And if you think about that, if a CMA takes you 30 minutes, I mean, you can crank out 20 in a day and that's a 10-hour day, but is that really what you want to do all day, every day as your list gets larger and larger? There's a point in which your time can't keep up with the commitment to stay on top of it and do it consistently. As we look at our 3 different levels, the very first thing I'm going to look at is, starting down here, is what would our people farm get? So the very first thing I like, speaking about CMAs, I like a system called homebot.ai. Now, if you're not using this, a lot of lenders use it, but what it does is it automates the CMA. You set it up once and they're going to get a CMA plus some financial data sent to their email every month. And the great news is these things have an amazing open rate. I'm at about 70%, sending out hundreds every single month. Now, the second thing that I'm going to give everyone is access to my home search site. And a lot of time I build this value up where I'll talk about the differences between my site and sites like Zillow. I talk to them about how Zillow makes their money, and usually that's enough to get them to want to stick with my site and see that as a value. And of course, the value for me is I can always see when someone starts looking at homes, and that can help me to know to engage with them at a different level. The next thing I make sure that everyone the People Farm gets is they get access to my monthly newsletter. I'll dive into the ins and outs of this newsletter in another video. Just know that a newsletter gives you an opportunity to get in front of your clients and show your knowledge and your prowess and bring them value on a consistent basis. Now, the next thing I make sure my People Farm has is they get invited to large client appreciation events. And again, we'll dive into this in another video, but I want to make sure that I'm inviting everyone to events. Again, these are opportunities to get FaceTime with people and add more value. Now, if you're in my raving fans, you're going to get everything that the People Farm gets, but you're also going to get a phone call from me on your birthday. And then I'm going to invite you to more intimate client appreciation events. And again, we'll cover events in another video. And then of course, if you're my past client, you're going to get everything that I have down below, except I'm also going to send you a gift card on your birthday. And then I'm going to do one-on-one events with my clients. So this is things like taking them out to lunch, to dinner, taking them to Topgolf. I'm going to spend one-on-one time with these people because they're my past clients and they're my greatest source of future referrals going forward. Oh, and I forgot one thing. For my People Farm and so everyone, I also have a Facebook group. So I have a private Facebook group that I try to get everyone in. This allows me to run contests, communicate, and again, continue to nurture my relationships with all these people at the same time. Once we have our members list system in place, now is the time to start feeding it. And we feed it through what we're going to cover in another video, which is the front of our business. We're going to talk about the 5 channels of lead flow into our People Farm. And then we'll talk about our fulfillment system, which is a system we use to take someone when they raise their hand and say, I'm ready to do real estate now, and convert them from a People Farm to a past client. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you hit subscribe or follow and have notifications turned on so you can see when the next video drops.